Alright guys, Simon here, we're playing Assassin's Creed 2 and we are in Forli and I believe we are going to look at architecture around here, aren't we? Alright, well let's do that. First of all, let's see what the game... No, not the conspiracy. Let's see what the game has to say about the city itself. What is this? Romagna? Forli? Here we go, so it says... founded in 798,000 before Christ by Paleolithic cavemen who were interested in flint manufacturing. Forli has been an industrial center ever since. That's a bit of a joke. The name comes from the Romans, Forum Livii, who built the city in 188 BC along the Via Aemilia, one of several roads they laid after pacifying the Gauls in the region. After Roman rule, it went from Lombard hands into church hands and then became an independent republic in 889, infuriating the Vatican, which spent the next 400 years trying to get it back. On top of Rome's constant manipulations, Forli had to deal with a steady stream of Goth, Byzantine, Lombard and Frank marauders for the next few centuries, along with annual flooding, which was finally brought under control by diverting nearby rivers away from the city centre in 1050. Like most independent republics, Forli became a military dictatorship at the end of the 13th century, and then was passed to the Ordelaffi family, who, despite having a lion with its tongue playfully sticking out as a crest, were not all that cute or nice. In 1480, the Ordelaffi fighting amongst themselves, amongst themselves over the chain of succession, the Pope stepped in and gave the city to his nephew. How do you do that? Girolamo Riario. But things didn't really go as planned for the Pope. When Girolamo was killed, the city passed to his wife, Caterina Sforza, the Amazon of Forli, who fought tooth and nail to prevent the Vatican from taking control. Ultimately, however, Caterina was vanquished and Forli passed into church hands. So that's the history in game. Let's just have a look at Wikipedia. And just shut these guys up. Forli? F-O-R-L-I? Alright, let's see what Wikipedia has to say. Wait, that's Forli? No, that must be... No, that's the, that's Venice. Why would it show images... Or is that Forli? No way. No, that's St. Mark's, right? Or no, that's Forli. That's not St. Mark's. It looks kind of like St. Mark's, but it's not. The buildings are different. Wait, this is Forli? It looks amazing in real life. Alright, let's go to Wikipedia. It is. Wow, look at that. Piazza Safi? Forli is a commune and city in Emilia-Romagna, Italy, and is the capital of the province of Forli Cesena. I don't know how to say that. It is the central city of Romagna. Blah blah blah. So let's look at the history. Ancient era. The surroundings of Forli have been inhabited since the Paleolithic. A site, Belvedere of the Monte Poggiolo, has revealed thousands of chipped flints and in strata dated 800,000 years before present, which indicates a flint-knapping industry producing sharp-edged tools in Archelaean phase of the Paleolithic. I have no idea what this stuff means. My prehistory is not very good. The founding of Forli occurred after the Roman conquest of the remaining Gaelic villages at the time when the Via Aemilia was built. The time this occurred is still debated with no definite evidence. Some historians arguing that the first settlement of the ancient Roman Forum was built approximately in 188 BC by Consul Gaius Livius Selenator, who confronted Hasdrubal Barca and vanquished him at the banks of the Metaurus River in 207 BC, while others even argue it may have been founded later, in the time of Julius Caesar. In 88 BC, the city was destroyed during the civil wars of Gaius Marius and Sulla, but later rebuilt by the praetor Livius Claudius. Okay, that's interesting too. Middle Ages. After the collapse of the Western Roman Empire, the city became part of the realms of Odoacer, and of the Ostrogoth kingdom. From the end of the 6th century to 751, however, Forli became an outlying part of the Byzantine power in Italy known as the Exarchate of Ravenna. So you can see here, Venice is just to the north, so it's kind of close to the coast. So it became Byzantine. During this time, the Germanic Lombards repeatedly contested and retook the city. In 665, 728, and 742, it was finally incorporated with the Papal States in 775 as part of the donation of Pepin. By the 9th century, the commune had wrested control from its bishops. Not sure how that happens. And Forli was established as an independent Italian city-state alongside the other communes that signaled the first revival of urban life in Italy. Like, how do you wrest control of the city from the bishops? Like, was there some sort of, I don't know, rebellion or something? Was there anything violent, or was this kind of political? Never mind. Forli becoming a republic for the first time in 889. At this time, the city was allied with the Ghibelline factions in the medieval struggles between the Guelphs and the Ghibellines. How do you pronounce these things? Partly as a means of preserving its independence, and the city supported all the Holy Roman Emperors in their campaigns in Italy. Okay. Local competition was involved in the loyalties. In 1241, during Frederick II's struggles with Pope Gregory IX, the people of Forli offered their support to Frederick II during the capture of the rival city Faenza, and in gratitude they were granted an augmentation of the communal coat of arms with the Hohenstaufen eagle. Okay. So in order to resist the Pope, they kind of allied themselves with the Holy Roman Empire, which is the Germans, in their, wars against the Pope, which is interesting. So in order to remain independent from the popes, they allied themselves with the Holy Roman Empire. With the collapse of the Hohenstaufen power in 1257, Imperial Lieutenant Guido I Montefello was forced to take refuge in Forli, the only remaining Ghibelline stronghold in Italy. He accepted the position of Capitano del Popolo, captain of the people, and gained for Forli notable victories against Bolognesi at the Ponte di San Proculo on June the 15th, 1275, against Guelph allied force, including Florentine troops, at Civitella on November 14th, 1276, and at Forli itself against a powerful French contingent sent by Pope Martin IV on May 15, 1282, in a battle cited by Dante Alighieri, who was hosted in the city in 1303 by Scarpetta or Delelfi III. In 1282, Forli's forces were led by Guido da Montefeltro. Wait a minute, don't we know that already? The astrologer Guido Bonatti, advisor of Emperor Frederick II too, was one of his advisors. I'm not sure how important this stuff is. So basically, it's seen a bunch of wars with in the conflict between the Pope and the Holy Roman Empire. The following year, the exhausted city senate was forced to accede to papal power and asked Guido to take his leave. So eventually, they didn't. They couldn't hold up for much longer. The commune soon submitted to a local condottieri rather than accept a representative of direct papal control. And Simone Mestaguera had himself proclaimed the Lord of Forli. He did not succeed in leaving the new signory peacefully to an heir, however, and Forli passed to Mecinaro Pagano, then to Uguccione della Fuguiola, and to others, until in 1302 the Ordelaffi came into power. Local factions with papal support ousted the family in 1327, and again in 1359. And at other turns of events, the bishops were expelled by the Ordelaffi. Wow, what a mess. Until the Renaissance, the Odolefi strived to maintain the possession of the city and its countryside, especially against papal attempts to assert back their authority. Often civil wars between members of the family occurred. They also fought as condottieri for other states to earn themselves money to protect or embellish Forli. Condottieri means mercenaries, by the way. The most renowned of the Odolefi was Pino III, who held the Signory of Forli from 1466 to 1480. Pino was a ruthless lord. Nevertheless, he enriched the city with new walls and buildings and was a sponsor of the arts. When he died aged 40 under suspicion of poisoning, the situation of Forli was weakened as factions of Odolefi fought one another, until Pope Sixtus IV claimed the Signory for his nephew, Girolamo Riario. Riario was married to Caterina Sforza, the indomitable lady of Forli, whose name is associated with the city's last independent history. Forli was seized in 1488 by the Visconti and in 1499 by Cesare Borgia. Oh crap. Cesare Borgia. That's the Templars. After whose death they became more directly subject to the Pope than ever before, apart from a short-lived return of the Odolefi in 1503 and 1504. Alright, so the Pope wins in the end. In June... Okay, this is much later. In June 1796, during the French Revolution, Jacobin French troops entered the city with Napoleon arriving from February 4th. Okay, I'm not going to read the later bits because that's much later and not relevant to the game, although it's basically a long series of conflicts. Is the story of this city. Forli is a prosperous agricultural and industrial center with manufacture primarily focused on silk, rayon, clothing, machinery, metals, and household appliances. Alright, so it's a manufacturing town today. Ooh, main sites. Forli is the location of various buildings of architectural, artistic, and historical significance that includes frescoes as part of their decorations. At the heart of the city sits the Piazza Aurelio Saffi. Let's just open that up for later. Piazza Saffi. Which includes a statue of Italian politician Aurelio Saffi, who was an important figure in the radical Republican current within the Risorgimento movement, headed by Giuseppe Mazzini in the 19th century. Okay, that's kind of much later. That might explain why the city today looks more impressive than it does in the game. Maybe they kind of developed quite a bit after the time of Assassin's Creed 2. Okay, that talks more about people than actual sites. Hold on. Also of note is the Dominican Church of San Giacomo Apostolo, better known as Church of San Domenico, a late medieval church built in the 13th century in the southern part of the town, so we can probably see that in the game. Abbey of San Mercuriale, named after Saint Mercurialis. Yeah, that's right. A bishop of the city who died in the 5th century. The main religious building of the city, that one. I think that's in the game, actually. Other medieval buildings include the Rocca di Ravadino, a fortress enlarged in the 14th century by the Odolefi. So we've looked at that building before. Located in green areas, Resistance Park. Okay, that's open much later, in 2000. And then Assassin's Creed 2. A 15th century Forli along the prominent landmarks, giving a digital rendition for players to interact with. Okay, cool. That's cool. Should we... That doesn't really tell us anything specific though, although it does tell us about the city. It might be missing quite a few buildings. Alright, so what else? Database, locations. Romagna, Forli, Rocca di Ravadino, we've seen that before. Palazzo Comunale. Built in 1000 around an existing tower, the Palazzo Comunale was enlarged in 1412 and bought by the Odolefi family, the heads of Forli. Their rule was marked by excessive violence, culminating in the reign of Pino III Odolefi, who murdered his brother for the throne, killed his first wife, his mother, and his second wife before being murdered by his third wife. Oh yes, I forgot to mention he was a great patron of the arts. Palazzo Comunale in Forli? Is that a thing? Forli... Palazzo Com... Apparently it is a thing. Palazzo Comunale Forli. I believe this is actually close to the docks. If I can figure out where I am and where to go. Alright, let's go north. And I hope this is the gate. Alright, it is the gate. So I think... Actually, is that accurate though? Oh crap, that's in Italian. Oh, that sucks. Is there not... Alright, so there isn't an English Wikipedia version of this. Let me just copy that and then go to Google Translate. No, just go to Google Translate. And then do I just type the web page there? Can we do that? Drag and drop link here to translate the web page. How do I do that? How do I drop that? How do I do that? Oh, here we go. Just click on it. Okay, that's good. The Town Hall of Forli is an impressive historic building in central Piazza Aurelio Saffi in Forli, formerly Palazzo della Signoria in the government, home to the Papal Legate. So this is like the government building. But this is not right. I see the core of the building, ideally placed between the Cathedral of Forli and the Abbey of San Mercurio, dates back to the period around 1000 and was built around an existing tower. In 1412, that's a bad translation. So the Leffi, so this is basically the government building. It's the Palazzo Comunale now. But whoever governed the city lived there. The problem is, okay, Piazza Saffi, and that's the the Palazzo Comunale, located in the heart of Forli. But I believe that's the Palazzo Comunale in the game, or is it that? No, that's a church, isn't it? I think I'm going the right way. Hold on, let me just run this way. Or maybe ride this way. And no, get on the horse, get on the horse. And see what the game says. Because I'm pretty sure the game tells us that this is the palazzo. Or maybe I'm wrong. Also, let's avoid Catherine Sforza. Or Caterina Sforza. Did they somehow manage to put the building here? Is that it? Is that it? Or is it a different thing? Hold on, let me look at the database in game. Locations. Romagna. Oh well, maybe no, maybe I'm wrong. Nope, I'm wrong. This is something else. No, come back. Oh, maybe this is wrong. Database locations. Romagna. Ah, okay. This is the Avamposto Veneziano. Venetian naval strategy involved maintaining a steady chain of bases along their trade routes to the east, ensuring that its merchants were able to get there and back without being attacked by pirates or Venice's enemies, the Turks. By the 15th century, Venice's fleet was occupied trying to force Charles VIII of France out of Italy, at which point Turkish forces struck without warning. Venice was soundly defeated, losing its Greek outposts. Following that, the Turks managed to invade Venetian territory in northern Italy. Although Venice was able to keep most of its territory from that point forward, it would never again be a great naval power. So this is like an outpost of Venice. Okay, I'm completely wrong about that one. Let's go back into the city and try and find the Palazzo Comunale. So I don't think that's actually very important, that the port there. Why is there a horse just standing here? Okay, my bad. So let's find the Palazzo Comunale. A lot of guards. And invisible wall. Alright, dismount. So the Palazzo... What? Who the... Okay, never mind. So the Palazzo Comunale... If it's not that one, then it would be... No, man. Then it would be this... Oh, this one. This one. How do I shut this guy up? Because he's like really loud. Can I like stab him? Can I like stab him? Warning! Ezio did not kill civilians. Well, I did. Well, let's shut him up. So that's the Palazzo Comunale in the game. Killing another civilian will cause desynchronization. Alright. So there it is in the game. Let me just step back a little bit and look at it there. Huh. So that's what it looks like in the game, that's what it looks like in real life. In real life you can see there's two wings to it, so it's much more impressive. Let me just click on that in fact. Yeah, it looks like that. And the square is bigger, and there's cars. So the square is bigger and that's also more impressive. More colourful too, look at that, like kinda like there's the yellows and oranges and reds. Whereas in game, it seems quite brown. See how brown it is in the game. No, it's nowhere near as impressive in the game as it is in real life. Actually, before we do anything else, I thought I saw something flash. I guess it's not. Alright, so that's kind of disappointing. In fact, you can't really tell it's anything significant, really. I mean, that's just not really it. Alright, so... Piazza... Okay, this is the Piazza. Hold on. Oh, that's right. The Palazzo is actually not in Wikipedia. Alright, let's close those. So the Piazza, which is the square we're standing in right now in game, located in the heart of Forli, Italy, offers some of the most interesting town sites. It is a trapezoidal shape and is about 128 meters long and 87 meters wide. I'm pretty sure it's not that big in the game. In the middle of the square stands the statue of Aurelio Saffi, which is surrounded by some of the most distinguished and ancient buildings of the town. On the southern side of the square there stands the Abbey of San Mercuriale, which is the church behind us. Next to the abbey there is the Palazzo Pollucci di Cauboli, built at the beginning of the 18th century. Well, that's not going to be in the game, or it shouldn't be. The Palazzo della Poste, the post building, early 1930s, that's also not supposed to be in the game. The Palazzo Comunale takes up the northern side of the square, the thing we're just looking at. It dates back to the year 1000, and it's now the seat of the town hall. Well, it was always the seat of the town hall, apparently. But depending on what kind of government you had. On the west side, at the corner of Corso Diez, there stands the Palazzo del Pedosta, built in Gothic style in 1460. On its right side, there's the Palazzo Albertini, an elegant 15th century building in Venetian style. I wonder if we can see those. Is it that thing there? That thing there? I don't see any Venetian style buildings here, but that is in the 15th century, so maybe it's not built yet. Alright, so there's a rather disappointing rendition of the Palazzo Comunale. Now let's have a look at the church, shall we? Actually, are there feathers? Are there feathers? I just want to find more feathers if I can. No? No? Alright, let's see what the database says. Database, locations, and Romagna. There we go. The Abbazia di San Mercuriale, so it's an abbey. The tower of the Abbazia di San Mercuriale, with its height of 75 meters, is one of the tallest in Italy. The first church on the site was destroyed by fire in 1173. The prison structure was built with brick in the Lombard Romanesque style, and took only 7 years, making it one of the most miraculous construction jobs in the history of Italy. 7 years. Okay, that's pretty efficient. The colonnade to the right of the church is part of the abbey's cloister. The colonnade on the right of the church is part of the abbey's cloister? What do you mean? Oh, there? This one. The abbey's cloister? No, you. No, you. So this is the abbey's cloister. Oh, we found that, conspiracy mark. Already that one there. And, oh, that's a pigeon coup for missions. Alright, so this is this. Not really sure. Are these guys really doing this?
Come, let me send you to hell.
No, man. Just go away. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. He's dead. Look at that. He's dead too. And you? These guys just can't leave well enough alone. Come on. Come on, swing. Swing. What the? Seriously. Come on. You. There, done. Alright, back to the architecture. If we can get those guys to just die. Alright, let's see what Wikipedia has to say about this. The Abbey of St. Mercuriali Forli. The Basilica Abbey of... Actually, it's kind of accurately portrayed in the game, isn't it? Hold on, let me just quickly go back to the game. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty much exact. The Basilica Abbey of St. Mercuriali is the main religious building in Forli in Romagna. The rather smaller cathedral was largely destroyed by fire in the 19th century. Well, that's a shame. The first church was built here in the 4th century, dedicated to St. Stephen. It was destroyed by a fire in 1173. The dedication to St. Mercurialis, the local martyr and patron, had appeared in the 9th century. In 1176, the edifice was assigned to the Vallambrosan order. The current edifice was finished in 1180 in Lombard Romanesque style, along with the famous bell tower. The latter, with its height of 75 meters, is one of the tallest in Italy. In the 13th century, it was considered one of the marvels of the Kingdom of Italy. A tower. Well, okay, 75 meters, that's not bad. Considered one of the marvels of the Kingdom of Italy. Okay. The abbey, which once was located outside the ancient Roman city, was included in a new line of walls in that period. So they expanded the city walls. In the 15th century, the Vallambrosans cloister was annexed to the construction. It has a rectangular shape and is decorated by slender columns, with a central well that can still be seen. The apse of the church was rebuilt in 1585, okay, that's after the game. Of the same period is also the wooden choir designed by Alessandro Bigni from Bergamo. The facade and the bell tower are in brickwork. The former is decorated with arcades supported by columns. The magnificent rose window over the main portal portrays the Epiphany with dream and adoration of the Magi, and is attributed to the so-called Master of the Months, who was active also in the Cathedral of Ferrara. The interior houses numerous works of art. The most famous is the sepulchre of Barbara Manfredi, the young wife of Pino III Ordelaffi, Lord of Forli. It was carved by Francesco di Simone Ferrucci from Fiesole. The sepulchre was once housed in the church of San Biagio, which was destroyed during World War II. So the church was destroyed, but they moved the sepulchre to a different church. Cool. So that happened. Right, so that describes the interior more. The exterior is, what is that, the Lombard Romanesque style in brick. Well, there you go. If you're wondering what Lombard Romanesque looks like, it looks like that. Let's just check the side of it. It's kind of interesting. It's got kind of bits and pieces sticking out of it. Probably renovations during later years and whatnot. Although, I could be wrong. Oh wait, the back looks the same as the front. Really? Hold on, the back looks exactly the same as the front. That's odd. So there should be a well here, but there isn't. Hmm. Oh well, it's close enough. I think it's a close enough recreation of the abbey. Just wonder if we can get more pictures of this thing. Let me just copy and paste that into Google and see if we can get more images of this thing. So, as I said earlier, like, the problem with images is that they usually take the famous shot, which is the one at the front. Nobody takes the sides and the backs of buildings. Which is a shame. Actually, that's just not even... These hotel rooms looks kind of nice, doesn't it? Look at that. That's pretty luxurious. Look at that. There's a pool and everything. Alright, so not much else for us to see on Google. And is that all? Is that all Forli for us to see? Let me just look at the locations there. Magna. Yep, that pretty much is everything. I guess that ends our architecture of Forli. So in the next video we'll continue on with the main quest, I believe. Oh yeah, I'll see you guys there.